The forest was a dark and shadowy place, where the light of the sun rarely penetrated the thick canopy above. It was a realm of perpetual twilight, where shadows danced and whispered secrets to those who dared to listen. Old trees, bent and twisted with age, stretched up towards the night sky. Their gnarled branches seemed to claw at the heavens, as if trying to grasp the stars themselves. Each tree had a story, etched into its bark by the passage of time. Their branches, thick and heavy, formed a roof high above. This natural canopy blocked out the sky, creating a world beneath that was both mysterious and enchanting. The leaves rustled softly, a gentle reminder of the life that thrived in this secluded sanctuary. The air was still and cold, filled with the smell of damp earth and rotting leaves. It was a scent that spoke of decay and renewal, of life and death intertwined in an eternal cycle. The ground was soft underfoot, a carpet of fallen leaves and moss. A thick fog rolled in, quiet and fast, covering the forest floor. It moved like a living thing, tendrils of mist weaving through the trees, obscuring the path ahead. The fog brought with it a sense of mystery, as if the forest itself was hiding its secrets. The only sound was the rustling of leaves. It was a soft, almost imperceptible noise, like the whisper of a ghost. The leaves seemed to speak in a language all their own, a language of the wind and the trees. Small animals scurried through the undergrowth. They moved quickly and quietly, their tiny feet barely making a sound on the forest floor. These creatures were the true inhabitants of the forest, living their lives in the shadows, unseen by most. An owl hooted, its call echoing through the silent trees. The sound was both haunting and beautiful, a reminder of the nocturnal life that thrived in the darkness. The owl, with its keen eyes and silent wings, was the guardian of the night. The darkness felt alive, filled with an unseen energy. It was as if the forest itself was a living, breathing entity, watching and waiting. The air was thick with the sense of ancient magic, a power that had existed long before humans set foot in these woods. A small, orange tent glowed softly in the heart of the forest, casting a warm, inviting light amidst the shadows. It was pitched in a small clearing, a splash of colour against the dark greens and browns. The tent stood out like a beacon, a solitary refuge in the vast wilderness. Inside, a lone camper zipped up his sleeping bag, preparing for another night under the stars. The soft rustle of the fabric was the only sound in the stillness. He had been walking for days, his journey long and arduous. Each step had brought him closer to this moment of solitude. The quietness of the forest was a comfort to him, a stark contrast to the noise and chaos of the world he had left behind. Here he found a sense of peace that had eluded him for so long. He had chosen this spot carefully, drawn to its peacefulness. The serene surroundings offered a sanctuary, a place where he could finally rest and reflect. The trees around the clearing were even bigger than those surrounding it. Their towering presence provided a sense of protection, as if they were guardians of this tranquil haven. Their branches seemed to reach towards the tent like long, grasping fingers. Yet, instead of fear, he felt a strange comfort, as if the forest itself was embracing him, offering solace to his weary soul. As his eyes adjusted to the darkness, the camper noticed something strange. Faintly glowing markings covered the trees. They were runes carved into the bark. They pulsed with a strange emerald light. He had never seen anything like it. He unzipped his tent and stepped out. The runes seemed to twist and move as he looked at them like living things. They pulsed in time with his heartbeat. A cold fear crept into his heart. He thought he saw movement out of the corner of his eye. A flicker of darkness against the darkness. He turned, but there was nothing there. He was sure he was not alone in the forest. The camper retreated back into his tent. He zipped it up tightly, his heart pounding in his chest. He tried to find a reason for what he had seen, but deep down, he knew that something was watching him. The rest of the night passed slowly. The darkness seemed to stretch on forever, each minute feeling like an hour. The camper's mind raced with thoughts of what could be out there, hidden in the shadows. Every creak of a branch, every rustle of leaves, amplified in the stillness of the night. The forest seemed alive, whispering secrets and warnings that only heightened his anxiety. Each sound sent a jolt of fear through him, his heart pounding in his chest. He clutched his flashlight, its beam a small comfort against the encroaching darkness. He lay awake, listening to the sounds of the forest. The hoot of an owl, the distant howl of a wolf, all seemed to be part of a symphony of the night, orchestrated to keep him on edge. He was trapped, a prisoner of his own fear. The tent, which had once felt like a safe haven, now seemed like a fragile barrier against the unknown. As dawn broke, he emerged from his tent, the first rays of sunlight piercing through the canopy. The light brought a sense of relief, but also confusion. The runes on the trees, which had glowed ominously in the night, were gone. It was as if they had never been there, leaving him to question his own sanity. The forest, bathed in the soft light of morning, seemed almost peaceful. The terror of the night felt like a distant memory, but the unease lingered. Had he imagined it all? The fear, the runes, the sounds? Doubt gnawed at him as he tried to make sense of the night's events. He packed up his things and left the clearing, his mind still racing. The forest had returned to its serene state, but he knew he would never see it the same way again. He would never forget his night in the forest. The experience had changed him, leaving an indelible mark on his soul, and he would never know what lurked in its depths. The enigma of the deep wood would remain a mystery, a haunting memory that would stay with him forever.